Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So today I wanted to do a video in regards to why you should be your authentic self. I think in the world that we live in today, we're always trying to be somebody we're not. A lot of this has to be influenced through social media and Instagram. When you're younger and in high school, you want to conform and be like everybody else. So to some degree, it's like when you're younger, you're more influenced on trying to be like a corporate conformist to fit into the same kind of bubble and mold. That everybody else is in. And obviously, if you work in certain types of industries, you want to fit and be accepted by those people that work there. One thought I had too was like if you go to something like Burning Man, most people will go and dress the part and, to look like everybody else. So we live in a world today of a ton of fake people. Sometimes it's hard to discern what is genuine and real and what is not. And you always hear these things, especially in marketing, when you're trying to launch your own business or promote yourself as a business. They always say, be different, stand out from the crowd. So this whole thought on like being different is really something that is, it has its truths and its merits because, being different in terms of selling a product or a service will give you a little bit more of an advancement than something else that is just, the same thing that's mainstream. But here's where I'm going at. I do believe people need to be their authentic self, but leave some wiggle room for improvement. So, for example, there are naturally sweet and nice, caring men and women out there in the world. And there are naturally men and women who are just kind of like bitches and assholes. Like that's just their authentic self. They've always been a jerk or kind of like a little bit more arrogant and egotistical, and they probably will always be that way. The thing is, if you are that type of person, you can still be your authentic self without going through, life as like a wrecking ball and hurting a bunch of people's emotions and or trampling on their lives just for the sake of fulfilling your own ego. So living as your authentic self really means letting whatever comes from inside shine. Obviously, we all can't be super, unique individuals. And I will say that in the world of like liberalism, a lot of people over the last few years wanted to be different from the mainstream where they would either get like sleeve tattoos, they would shave half their head and dye their hair. In reality, that was a statement that they were different, but the truth is they were actually following the same thing that a ton of other people who wanted to be different were doing. So to some degree, it was kind of mainstream in itself, just in its own realm of like liberalism. And so, letting your authentic self shine can be really hard and can be really difficult, especially when you're trying to come out of the closet as something. I remember many, many years ago, I kind of said like I was in the closet or in hiding when it came to my spiritual beliefs. So it was like to some degree, I was slowly starting to come out at times when certain things were becoming accepted, like, believing in astrology and doing yoga and all that stuff like that. Now it's a lot easier to come out as some, spiritual woo-woo person or, as a gay person as it was compared to, decades ago being somebody who was gay or, feeling that they were born in the wrong type of body and stuff. So letting your authentic self shine starts with being honest with yourself. Who are you really? One example that I'll give is I remember my freshman year in college, like everybody in America, most kids in college will party too much and they will drink too much. And I remember that was just thinking that was just part of this epic, great experience was through partying. And I remember about 3/4 of the way through freshman year, deep down, I knew drinking a lot wasn't really the person who I was. It wasn't my true authentic self with being this partier. Like it was a fun experience for that time frame, but I knew it really wasn't who I was. I was really connected to, my family's roots of being healthy and choosing healthier foods, especially like more local produce that's coming from a garden. And that to some degree, health was part of my authentic self that kind of was suffering at that point in college. So um, it takes strength and courage to walk forward, to break through the things that you're trying to present yourself to the external world as, and to start to let the inner self shine. So you kind of have to do a little soul searching and just ask yourself, like, who am I honestly? And who do I want people to see me as? Do I want people to see me as my authentic self, or do I want people to see me as this certain projection or this character? Or a lot of what we see today with people coming out with their stories on depression and anxiety is that they are starting to make themselves vulnerable and be like, you know what, I don't always have my shit together because I suffer from this mental health issue. And to that in itself, they are being their authentic self by expressing, their certain feelings that are coming from inside. So I do encourage everybody to be their authentic self, but leave wiggle room for improvement. So if you are starting to break out of your shell and exposing your inner world of, your suffering of depression, are you also allowing some room or space in your life for areas of improvement that you can start to come out of that depression and come kind of, swimming from the deep end of the pool and start to walk forward toward the light? And generally, once people start to self-actualize and start to find themselves, that they can, start to share their journey and story with others to be an inspiration or a beacon of light to other people. So, if you are authentically just a materialistic person, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The world is filled with materialistic people and non-materialistic people. It's just, in order to obtain materialism, are you obtaining that through authentic means and ways, or are you, lying and deceiving and throwing people under the bus so you can get that higher raise and promotion at work so you can afford those materialistic items? I think you should be your authentic self and go through life without wrecking other people's emotions and or really screwing other people's lives over. That's where a lot of like the egotism or the ego flares start to come up, because everybody thinks, that they know it all or that they're better than other people. So walk through life by being honest with yourself, knowing who you are and how you want to project yourself to other people. In 2019, we are so accepting of so many things. Obviously, there are parts of the world or parts of the country in America that are not as accepting as other places. I live in Seattle, so, it's like one of my yoga students is an older senior gay man, and he walks around in leather, and he calls himself Mr. Leatherman. So if that's his authentic self, is to walk around Capitol Hill being Mr. Leatherman, then let it shine, you know what I mean? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A peacock's going to show its feathers, and, a whale's going to channel its call. Like, every animal in nature is being its authentic self, so we should too, but we are just built with a consciousness as humans that in order to be your authentic self, what are you doing to be that? Are you going through life not committing any harm? Or are you going through life trampling over other people just so you can feel big and better about yourself? So anyways, these are some thoughts that I have. If you'd like to share some thoughts on how to be your authentic self, or maybe you have a story that you would like to share, please do. If you'd like, you can subscribe below. You can help me build this channel, and you can also support me on Patreon. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and see you guys soon. Okay, bye.